Hey, this is the Board of Damocles. I'm your host, Jim Buchanan, and I'm finally getting around to filming something about BGG. So I got back and got sick, and I thought it was con crud for about a day, and then it turned out, no, that's COVID. So, yay. But either way, much better now, and been doing a whole lot of stuff here at the house and kind of doing things that have really disrupted the game space. So I'm filming this one. I'm standing up because everything else around me is a mess. But either way, I wanted to talk about the games that I played at BGG and kind of what I thought of them. So I've got a list here. Some of them I'll go through pretty quick. Some of them not so much. So we'll see. So the first game that I played, there was 18 Chesapeake, which isn't entirely true. I think I played a different game before that. But either way, the first big game that we played was 18 Chesapeake. It's the first 18xx game that I played, and my friend Alex and I were playing it, and he ended up winning. We played with 3 other experienced players, and I gotta tell you, it was fun. It was really cool. I enjoyed the heck out of it. A lot of folks had said, I think I read somewhere 1846 was a good place to, like, a good entry level. And then these guys I played with said 18 Chesapeake's a better entry level one. And, I'm not saying I wouldn't want to go deeper or anything like that, but that's a big game. It's not a Tuesday night game, right? 18xx is a little bit more involved. And so I don't think that that's really going to be something we get out very often. It may be something I just play at, kind of an epic game sort of thing that we play at BGG, or maybe even in the spring when we've got lots of time too. So, but it was a lot of fun. I really like it. I love that kind of auction style, driving the stock price up and completing, routes and all of that. I really liked that. I thought that was a lot of fun. And in that game, it was a blast. We had a really good time. And the guys we played with were great. The teacher was phenomenal. It was really good. So that was 18 Chesapeake. Did really enjoy that one. Finally got my copy of Carnegie out, and we played it 2-player. We played it right, so that was good. But it was, I really liked it a lot. And I will say, I think the guy I was playing with, I think he liked it too, and I think I'd like to get that one out. That is a Tuesday night, game night kind of a thing. I'd like to get that one out, play it with 3, maybe 4 players. I think 3 probably is perfect for that game. I think 4 might take it a little long, a little bit too much time between turns, that sort of thing. But then again, the turns are pretty quick. They don't have to be really long. So I do really like that game. The art is wonderful. The design is great. I like the actions and kind of building your buildings on your own little tableau there and moving your folks around. It's one of those games that's really tight. I feel like I played it wrong, not rules-wise, but just didn't play it right. So that kind of makes me want to go back and play some more. But really good game. Did thoroughly enjoy that. And the components, the upgraded components are pretty great. I saw it being played a few other times around BGG. It was at the Hot Games room. There was one table set up with it. And I saw a few people playing it here and there. But overall, I think it's been out a little while, and maybe it wasn't quite at, peak interest. And it's a game that doesn't necessarily garner a crazy amount of interest. So I'll talk about one of those in a little bit. The next game we played was a game called Scout. Played that with Rory from Board Game Empire in Albuquerque and his friend, and that was really cool. Did very much enjoy that too. As a matter of fact, bought that game, and it's a quick trick-taking game. It doesn't have to take very long, although we made it take long. It's in a way kind of like trick-taking version of Gin, where you lay out at least, one card, and the next person has to put out either a series or a pair. They have to beat your card that's out there. And if they can't, they take that card, or cards, they take some on the ends. And this is where it gets weird. The cards you're dealt, you don't get to rearrange them. And you have to play them as they're dealt to you. The only thing you can do is one time before you start, turn them over, because there's different numbers on one side versus the other, the top versus the bottom. So you can look and say, okay, how many pairs or triplets or whatever do I have in a row here? How many runs do I have? How many sequences? That sort of thing. And that is, I gotta tell you, that was really cool. It was a fun game. Really liked that one quite a bit too. Like I said, I bought it. It's a good game to play here. It did get played at the game group the week I was out. I don't think it was super high on the list. My group doesn't do card games much, but if you haven't checked it out, do check out Scout, because it is real cool. That cool mechanic of kind of what you're dealt, and in that order is what you got to play. You don't have to play them left, right. You can play them out of the center, which effectively brings other cards together. So that's pretty cool. But if you're taking a card to try to help you make something, you can insert it where you want. But you have to take it from the left or the right of what's out there, and then that person gets a point when you take one of their cards because you're scouting. Yeah, it's pretty good, and it is a lot of fun. The next one we played, well, let's see, that is the next one we played. It may not be the next one on the list. We played Heat, which is rapidly moving up the hotness on BGG. For good reason. It is a very good game. It's a lot of fun from Days of Wonder. It's a Days of Wonder hasn't been, they put out one game a year, if that, and this is their one, and it is really good. It's a fun racing game. I love racing games. Heat was a lot of fun. It's a deck building racing game, and it's really cool. Now, we played it totally wrong because the guy that taught it to us wrong, and we didn't want to bother with the rules or anything because it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, I think, at that point. We were just like, oh yeah, sure, let's play. And I mean, you're looking at the iconography going, are you sure that's right? But whatever, it doesn't matter. We still had a good time looking at the rules after the fact. Yep, I know that that's the way that game's played, and I think that game is probably going to show up at my house tomorrow. So it will get played probably next week at game night because it is a lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. Again, deck building type game with really some cool racing mechanics where you're playing cards out based on the gear that you're in. And if you haven't checked it out, absolutely do check that one out. It was a lot of fun. The next one we played was Verdant. That is from the same designer as Cascadia, which I haven't played, but Spiel des Jahres winner. Verdant was pretty cool. It's houseplants. You're building kind of I think it was a 3x3 or a 4x4 grid, I forget, of your plants. You're decorating them, you're upgrading their pots and getting extra points for that. You get points for having having some things kind of in sequence where they point to each other, like a type of plant, where it's up, it's getting the most light that it can get, or what the kind of light it's supposed to get, whether it's partial shade or partial sun or full sun or or low sun, that kind of a thing, shady spots, in your rooms, and you're decorating your rooms. You are putting them in certain places so that the plants that are in them are getting the most that they can, and you're scoring points based on your placement. It's almost like a tile laying game in a way, but with cards. It was cool. It was fun. It's not a game that I bought. It was for sale there. I mean, I liked it. It would be a game that I think I would play, when it's like hey, yeah, that's fun. Let's throw that out there on the table, a light game, like at one of our family game nights that we do once a month. Probably one there, but I've got a few of those. It's not one that I wanted to go buy in order to do that. So that is Verdant. And another game we played, and this is definitely a BGG game. We played Food Chain Magnate, and this is one I've been wanting to get out to the game group. With Alex from our group coming, he got to enjoy it. He got to play it. And I think, although we got just boat raced, it was terrible. We were done quick, and it was over fast. The guy we played against, this was only his second game. This was my third or fourth game, I forget. I think third. And I thought I was playing well, and I wasn't. And Alex started out really well, and he just, I mean, the guy we were playing against really, he had the best placement from the beginning. He put himself in a position away from us and away from a ton of places that could potentially be purchasers, but he had enough. He had 3 or 4 that he was really going to be close to, that he was going to be able to dominate that market, and he was going to be able to get what he needed with a mail campaign and that kind of stuff. He did a great job. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. He played well. We did not. It was Alex's first place, so that's his excuse. And he played a ton better than I did. So, you know, I am not good at that game. I like it, but I'm not good at it. It is, you know, it's right up there. But yeah, I like it, not good at it. So, but it's a lot of fun anyway. That's Food Chain Magnate from Splatter. We had a good time with that. The next one, we played it. I'm going to skip over Anachrony, which is my favorite game. I'll get back to that one in a second. The entire time we were looking at Anachrony, I'm looking over at the booth that's selling some games, and one that I really wanted to look at, I really wanted to try out while we were at BGG, was one called Lacrimosa. And if you've not tried this one, we bought this game. It's totally worth it. I feel like the theme is good. I'm not saying it comes through in a crazy amount, but I feel like it's good, and I think it does help the game. I think I might be in the minority there. That's okay, though. It is a wonderful, wonderful game. It is Mozart's Last Requiem, and you're trying to recreate it. You're putting on, you're kind of hiring folks and doing different things to do some work, which is great. But the first things first, you can drive around the country in your stagecoach or whatever, and you can gather resources and other things, and you're effectively rebuilding stories from his journal, and you're trying to redo that so that you can finish the Last Requiem, which is at the bottom of the board. You've got some notes in different places, and you're playing single notes, double notes, that kind of thing. And there's just a tug of war kind of thing that happens between you and the other players, and you're trying to have a little area control kind of a thing in some sections to get some points. It's kind of a weird mechanic to have in a game about music. It really is, and that kind of lends to what people are saying is, theme doesn't really work. It's probably true, but I like it. I like kind of what you're doing, and you've got the score on the bottom, and you're filling in the notes with the different instruments, and I like that. I think that's pretty cool. It's kind of an in-game scoring deal that gets you some extra points. There's also you've got opuses that you're putting on, that you're performing and getting paid for those if you want, or you can sell them and you can get some things that way. You've got 3 different resources that you're moving back and forth that are pretty cool, like an inkwell, and those are all about the musical score at the bottom, and that's how you do those things. In the middle, the way you do those things, which is moving around on the map, is using the wagon wheel, and then you've got the top. It all makes a lot of sense. It's the quills that you're using up at the top. So it all makes a lot of sense. It really does. It is a very intuitive game once you've kind of understood the iconography. I gotta say, we sat down at the table to play, and a group sat down next to us probably about 15 minutes later. This is another one of those things where we had a phenomenal teacher. I mean, he really was great. He sat down and just banged it out. This is what you do. This is why you do it. Here you go. Here's what you do here. Here's what you do here. Here's what you do there. And worked through it. And there were some questions throughout. I mean, did I understand it perfectly when we started? No, but by the end of the first round, I understood it well enough to play and to be competitive. So that was good. And the group next to us was still learning the game like an hour and a half into our game. And they were being taught a thorough teach by one of the folks from BGG. That's not a problem. It was just the thorough teach as opposed to the streamlined, this is what you need to know, I played it, this is how the game works, and this is how you enjoy it. again, we bought it afterwards because it was so good. I'm like, yep, I'm in. Let's do this. And that's the only game we played twice while we were there. Yeah, not counting like Scout and some of the lighter games, but that one was really good. Again, that was Lacrimosa. We played Hamlet. It was all right. Didn't love it. Didn't hate it. It was a fine game. If you want to know more about it, go read about it. It's got some good art. It looks cool. There's some mechanics on it that I think are neat, like with the church that you're building, although I would never, ever, ever play with the 3D church. It would just get in the way and you couldn't see what was going on. We did screw some things up there. I liked the game. I just didn't want to buy it. It wasn't a game that I'm like, oh, I need in the collection with all the other stuff I've got, right? So it's a good game. If you want to know more about it, definitely take a look at it. But it is definitely kind of middle of the pack, if you will. I can't say it did anything special, and I think that's really what it is for me. Anachrony, favorite game. Taught it to 2 players who'd never played it before, and it's my favorite game. It still is. Played the base game because there are 2 new players. Gonna get the big expansion out eventually and get it on the table and play it. It is a ton of fun, and I cannot recommend that game enough. So that is Anachrony from Mind Clash Games. The next one, this is the second time I've played Macher. We played a 5-player game again. It's a wonderful, wonderful game at 5 players. We played the long game. It was long, but it wasn't too long. Didn't overstay. Was really great and wonderful. And while I did not win, it really you feel like you're doing well, and then you're not. And somebody flips one card, and it totally changes everything for you in this one area that you're trying to get people elected. Yeah, really great game. It's got to be. It probably is a top 10 game for me now. It really is. It's just too much fun. You need a lot of time to play it. It's not an incredibly difficult game to play, but it is incredibly deep. It's got a lot going on. Not a lot of mechanics, but it's got a lot of things that you can do to manipulate the game and to manipulate it so that you can win, if you will. But you're manipulating the media, you're manipulating your own platform, you're manipulating the voters and what they want and what is interesting to them, and you've got a shadow cabinet that you're playing out there that you pay for. It's dirty is what it is. It's a dirty game, but it's so much fun. It's got a little bit of take that to it. But it is a lot of fun, and it's a really, really well-designed game. We played Heaven and Ale. I had that game at one point and never got it to the table and sold it. Much like Hamlet, okay, it was a good game. It was a fine game. And that's about how I felt about it. I like moving around. There were a couple of things that I didn't realize as we were playing it, but that's fine. It wouldn't have made a big difference for me winning or not winning the game or enjoying the game if I'd done it differently. But I liked it. I just didn't love it. So definitely would recommend that you, if you're interested in Heaven and Ale, watch a video of somebody playing it before you go out and buy it. It was a good game, but again, it was a fine game like Hamlet. It was fine, but not one that I wanted to keep in my collection. I am glad that I got the money for it. So, and that was Heaven and Ale. Furnace, that was a filler game that we picked up to play because, well, played it before. I own it, played it a lot, and we were looking for something to play between that and the next game, and Furnace is great. If you've not played Furnace, it's a kind of an auction style game in the beginning where you're bidding on stuff, but nobody else can bid the same as you. There's a thing up at the top of each card that if you lose it, you still get something if you don't win that card to put into your engine, but it is an engine builder. You're putting stuff in, you're exchanging resources around, trying to get victory points by selling oil or coal or ore or whatever. Either way, it's that engine builder, and it is running things through. It's kind of like Gizmos in a way, but it's a little bit It's a little bit less cartoony, if you will, but it is, and I think that mechanic of kind of the auction in the beginning for the cards, where you're bidding on those, is pretty fantastic. And the fact that if you don't win it, you still get something is pretty cool too, because that's actually a perfectly legitimate strategy. Somebody goes all in on one, they drop down their 4 token. You can put a 3 on top of it because you want to get 3 steel or 6 or whatever it is that your multiplier happens. So that's Furnace. If you haven't checked that one out, definitely do. That is a very, very good game. Next one, Project L. It's a game that I own. It's back over here, and played it a lot. Highly recommended. It is a wonderful game. It's a Tetris-y game. You're putting out tiles, and on other tiles, you're recruiting the tiles, and then you're filling the shape with a bunch of little chiclet-looking things. Yeah, it's great. And you kind of run through it until you run out of tiles, and bang, there it is. It usually ends really quickly and somewhat abruptly, and you feel like you need 1 or 2 more turns to do what you really wanted to do. But really good. Those little chiclets, you can upgrade them. You get new ones when you complete cards or you complete tiles. Yeah, it is fun. The Kickstarter is way overproduced, but a blast of fun. The retail copy is still great. So get out there, buy that game if you're looking for a good abstract game that you're tired of Azul or some of those kinds of games. Try Project L. You'll like it. Let's see. Like I said, we played Lacrimosa again. We played Autobahn. The guy that taught it did a reasonably good job, but we missed on some rules pretty big that would have changed a lot of things about the game. Because well, truthfully, the rule book is bad. And here's why I say that. I like when a rule book goes through an action and explains all the different parts of that action. And it goes through and tells you about how something is, what the rules are for a particular action or for a particular area, and how they're treated at the end of the game too in scoring. And when they use certain terms that seem absolute, it needs to stop there. But when you put an exception 4 or 5 pages later in the rule book in an example, it's very frustrating. Or in a table or something like that, whatever, it doesn't matter. The rules are there. You just need to read through it thoroughly. And Autobahn is a very good game, but actually it's better than good. It was a lot of fun. I liked it a lot. As a matter of fact, I bought it. So it's not that the rule book is so bad that it's unplayable or anything like that. You just got to read it thoroughly. And then when you go to teach it, don't teach it in the order of the rule book. Teach it in the order of the actions and what all happens there and what happens when you move people up into this other section, and that's how you're scoring and all that, and how you get people there. It just, yeah, it was a little bit frustrating, but Autobahn was a blast. I don't know if the version we played was the Kickstarter copy or not. It was in the hot games area. It was really good. I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I bought that one. We played Cat in a Box, another game I bought. Cat in a Box is like Schrodinger's cat, but it is a trick-taking game. And you have these cards. They have no suit on them, but the suits are red, yellow, blue, and green. There are no colors on the cards. When you play a card, you say what it is, and then you put one of your tokens out on that blue, yellow, green, or red row. Red is the trump suit. And you put it out on that row, and there's 5 copies of each card. And you, depending on how many players are playing, you play with a certain number of cards, but it's 1 through 9. So there are, 9 cards, but there are 5, or 1 through 9, but there are 5 copies, but only 4 suits. At some point, you're going to create a paradox, and that ends the game. And you are bidding to say, I'm going to take this many tricks. Playing with 5 players, it's 1, 2, or 3, and everybody bids, and then you flip it over and you say, hey, this is a blue 7. Okay, whoever puts the highest blue out is going to win that trick. If you play a trump card, and this is the kicker, you're saying, I don't have any more blues, or I don't have whatever the lead color was. And you can do that with any color throughout the game. You can say, if somebody plays blue and you say, oh, this is a green 2. Okay, when you put your little token out there, you're putting it and covering it up. No one else for that round can play that number of that color. So that suit is gone. So at some point, you're going to be left holding a card that, potentially at least, that has no home on the board. Like, there's no way. And then again, that creates a paradox and it ends that round for everybody. It is really a very, very fun game. I like it a lot. Again, card games aren't big with our group. Trick-taking card games are probably even lower. So, but I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think people got it more than they did the first time we played it, but it is a lot of fun. I like it a lot. We also played a game that is a prototype of, and some guys from Beaumont, Texas, or near Beaumont actually, created this game. It's called Cysmic, Cysmic, and it was a full resin 3D printed game that the guy did. He did a fantastic job with his prototype. It was a really well done prototype. The game was really cool. You're kind of building this rocket and trying to get everybody off this planet that's fallen apart because you've been trying to terraform it or mine it and you've destroyed it. And depending on which faction you're playing, you might be the faction that's at fault, or you're the faction, that's the one I played, that was telling them to do it. That's the political faction. It was cool. We were all 1-2 turns away from winning. It was such a tight, fast game. There's battles, there's upgrading your people to different things, assigning them to different jobs, and creating mechs that fly through the air and cause these seismic activities. They cause these tremors that pull pieces of the board off, these hexes. They pull them off of the board. So now there's like lava underneath, or maybe scorched earth underneath. But again, you've got this big, central ship that you're moving around that you're trying to expand and trying to build out all the way to create this rocket so that you can, you can get people to leave the planet, right? You can evacuate. And it was a lot of fun. Played really, honestly, pretty quick. We played in, I think they said 45 minutes of, was it 45 minutes a player, 30 minutes a player? I forget what the number was, but really well done. Certainly for a prototype. I liked it. It's one of those things that we were talking after, somebody's going to back this game, because when it hits Kickstarter, and I think they're saying it's going to hit probably April. I think we were telling them, yeah, maybe you push it to May or June and try to get it in front of people at Origins, or try to get in front of people at Gen Con, or even at BGG Spring. Although I think Spring, with the crowd that's there, that may not be the right one, but try to get it in front of some people at the same time that you've got about a week left in the campaign, or 2 weeks left, something like that, so that you can drive some things. Yeah, the designer and his friends and the guys that are helping him out, they did a good job teaching us the game and playing it. We thoroughly enjoyed it and had such a good time. And it is a table hog. I've got a 6 foot by 4 foot table. It's gonna fill this thing, and it was really cool. It was really great. It might be a little too big, but it was a lot of fun, and we really enjoyed it. Another one we played was Northgard. A fairly quick, easy game. We played 2-player, and it's a deck building game with area control and kind of exploration and other things too. And it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. I liked it a lot, actually. If it's based off of the video game series, I do want to get that out and play it with 4 players. I think that one would be much better with 4 than it was with 2. I thought 2, it was a good game. I think with 3, it would be better. I think even with 4, it would be really outstanding. And that's Northgard. That was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that. We played Clinic, which, not the first time I played Clinic. We didn't get to finish because we didn't reserve enough time at the table we were at, which is unfortunate, because I was going to win. And I was cleaning up. It wasn't close. I say that, maybe it was, but I didn't feel like it was. I felt like it was only going to get worse, but I was having a good time. I think the 2 guys we were playing with were having a good time too. It was, we signed up on the Epic Games. We were kind of waiting around for another player to show up, and they didn't show. And hey, let's go ahead and start with 3. It takes a lot longer to set that game up than it should, and you're explaining it as you go. it's a long teach. We should have added another hour to the game. I think if we'd done that, we would have finished. We were probably only 20 to 30 minutes away from finishing, truthfully. We had a couple rounds left. It wouldn't have been too bad. And then the last one we played was Tribes of the Wind. And you've got cards that are, you're showing one side to show like what suits you've got to your opponent, and you've got yours, and you're trying to kind of move people through and create kind of a little puzzle at the bottom. And it's kind of, I don't know how to describe that game other than it's a little bit of an action selection and card playing game that's pretty fun. Same sort of thing. Great art. I think it was Vincent Dutray. Great art. Really, I liked it. I liked it quite a bit. It was not a game I knew anything about other than it looked pretty, so I pulled it off of the Hot Games rack, checked it out, and we played it. Looked like it would play pretty quick. It did play reasonably quick. We learned it and played it in, I don't know, probably an hour and a half, maybe less than that. Yeah, good game. Enjoyed it. And that's what I played at BGG. Of that, like I said, I bought some games out of that. We kept trolling by Woodcraft and never got to sit down and play that. I really wanted to get down and play Weather Machine, and that's a game that I didn't get to play until I got back here to the house. I have since set that up and played it. It's going to be a long Tuesday night game. Like everybody needs to have the day off the next day, I think. So maybe over the break, around Christmas and the holidays, we'll get to do that. For those of us that are either employed by colleges, universities, or K through 12, which is most of the group, we'll see. So Weather Machine was a lot of fun. The new Vital Lacerda, here it is. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed that one. I'll show some pictures here. Yeah, pretty great. The other thing I bought, I picked up some of these like bits trays with the card slots on them in a variety of colors, and I think 13 of them, something like that. I don't know. That was perfect for that Tribe of the Winds game, but it was really good. Really enjoyed it. And as far as using these, I thought they were perfect for that, and they were good for Northgard and some other games too. Surprised at how much I like those. I used them in Weather Machine just recently too, playing that. So games that I want to play, Woodcraft, like I mentioned, it was one that we didn't get played that I really wanted to. I went ahead and got it because I just trust that with the designer Vladimir Suchy that it's going to be good. I like Praga quite a bit. It is similar to Praga in the way that action kind of on the wheel looks. It's a little different, not a lot, but a little bit. I think the theme is more like something I like. Woodcraft versus building up Prague, but still seems like it's a really fun game. I know I'm gonna enjoy it. And like I said, waiting on heat to show up too. So it was a good BGG. Really did enjoy it. I think the thing I like the most about BGG is it is a game playing experience. You go there to play games. Same thing with Spring. Spring just skews a little younger. A lot of people bring their kids. I tend to bring my oldest and one of their friends, and we'll pretty soon be bringing my middle one, who's just 9 years old now, but maybe in 2 or 3 years, if we're playing some bigger, heavier games, maybe he'll come with us, because it's a lot of fun, and it's just a place to go play games, and I think that's what I like. It's not all about buying stuff. I'll say that I didn't think that the vendor exhibit was that great. It was better than last year, but I didn't think it was that great. In terms of attendance, it seemed like it was, it's spread out more than it was when it was still at the airport. So it is a little bit different. It feels a little different. This is the 3rd year that they've had it downtown. And while I like that space, I do wish the Hot Games area was bigger. And not kind of crammed into that little corner, oddly shaped place. But yeah, I don't know. The first year it was there, the vendor exhibit was huge. I hope we get back to that because I do enjoy walking the floor and seeing new stuff, playing a demo, or just having the opportunity to buy some things maybe from Essen that I haven't had the opportunity to get yet. You know, some people are maybe muling it in and that kind of thing. So do enjoy that too. Well, if you get a chance, come down to Dallas and play. I'm not in Dallas. I'm, a little ways out, and I, Airbnb that thing down there so I don't have to fight the traffic on the weekdays and everything else. And you can stay late and get back and not be, you're still thoroughly exhausted, but not be too beaten down the next day. I'm sure all of that led to me, getting sick, but either way, it was worth it. Anyway, well, that's all I've got for BGG. Again, if you get a chance, come down and play. I'd love to play a game with you sometime. Hit subscribe on the channel, hit the bell icon so you get notified, and hope to see you sometime. All right, appreciate it. Good night.